Welcome to 123 Minimize with Jody and Linnea, the podcast where we discuss easy minimalism for busy moms. Whether you're a new mom in need of practical decluttering tips or an experienced parent seeking simplified routines, you've come to the right place. I'm Jody, wife and full-time working mom of 4. In 2017, I founded the Minimalist Mom Facebook group, now with over 270,000 members. My passion is creating a simple, healthy, and happy home where my family can thrive.
I'm Linnea, a homeschooling mom of 4. In 2021, my family and I sold our house, downsized to a 36-foot travel trailer RV, and embraced minimalism. Living with less has been liberating, and I'm thrilled to share tips and experiences to help you simplify your life. Whether you're sitting down, getting stuff done, or lacing up your walking shoes, welcome to the 123 Minimize podcast.
In today's episode, we'll be talking about minimalism and holiday food, so stay tuned for some insights and thought-provoking discussion. Okay, no matter what holiday you're celebrating in the winter, food seems to be a big topic all around the world.
Right.
Food brings families together. Food brings fond memories. It's warmth.
Yes.
And we all really need to eat, right? So what are some tips that you have as a minimalist for holiday food planning and making the season easier?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me definitely is to utilize meal planning.
Yeah.
It's key because that way you can plan ahead. You can plan around what you have already, and you're likely to be more busy through the month. So this way you can be more efficient with your time and be able to plan ahead trips to the store. So you're not like going to the store every couple of days, last minute trying to get stuff, especially when it's on the eve of a holiday or something and the grocery stores are going to be insanely busy. Or maybe it's the weekend and everyone's at the mall shopping and you just don't want to go out anywhere. So meal planning is hugely helpful.
Yeah. One tip for us is I sit down with the calendar early in the year before Thanksgiving. And I look at all the events I might have to bring food to, maybe a work potluck that myself or my spouse has to go to, maybe a kid's school event that they have to bring food to. And I plan it all out, like make grocery lists alongside with the calendar of when I need it, what it is going to be. And so if it's a non-perishable item that is shelf stable for a little while, I would buy it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even write on the box, like this is for Dad's work potluck.
Sure.
So that nobody opens it up and I'm like, oh, because it's hard for everybody else to know what's going on in my head. Another thing that's a good prep for this is to clean out your freezer, clean out your refrigerator, make a list of what you have so that you're not buying stuff that you already own. And then plan out your family meals. If you're having a meal with just your family, like Thanksgiving dinner, what are you going to have? And can you buy some of it early so that there's less of a big trip to buy?
Yeah.
Like go ahead and buy your turkey, throw it in the freezer. Go ahead and buy your whatever other things that are, already made, prepackaged food. If a lot of it's fresh, that's fine. I make a lot of stuff from scratch. And so I'll put that on another list with a date of when I need to get it by. Really, when you're on the topic of food, this doesn't take very long. If I have to do this every single event where I'm just barely ahead of it, I have to get in the mode of food.
Right.
But if I can do it all in one lump, then you're already on the topic. Your brain is already thinking about food. You're already feeling creative with food. You don't have to change gears and get back into food. And then doing your normal meal planning.
Right.
We have a great PDF on our website, 123minimize.com, about your kitchen, your minimalist kitchen. It goes through meal planning. It has different types of meal planning lists for you to print off and fill out. Take an inventory of your refrigerator, your freezer, your pantry. And that way you can use up some of the stuff that you already have instead of buying new stuff and incorporate that into your meal planning. And then just go ahead and throw your holiday stuff in there on those dates. So you're like, okay, we're not making dinner on this day. We're actually going to someone's house and I'm bringing this. And so then you put down your grocery list. And that way, at the beginning of all this, you can go and buy everything you need that's shelf stable. You know, maybe you're making a spinach dip and you need to get some jars of artichoke hearts. Well, great. You throw those in the cart. You don't need them for a month. It's fine. Their expiration date isn't for a year or two, probably.
Right. And that will kind of spread out the budget. Another thing that I love to do is prepare anything ahead that I can put in the freezer.
Yeah.
Especially before we were full-time RVing. I can't really do that now because I have a very small freezer.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of space.
Yeah.
But we used to have a deep chest freezer in our basement. And so I would maybe plan a meal of lasagna that's really good to throw in the freezer and reheat. Extra taco meat. When we made tacos, we just make double and throw the extra in the freezer, so that'd be a really easy meal to reheat, or some kind of chicken with a sauce that we can just throw in the crock pot. So trying to find, like, maybe it's not for the actual holiday meals, but maybe it's for your just regular weeknight meals, just to take off the pressure and the amount of time that you would have if you're going to be really busy with, you know, the holidays. Just finding ways to save time in other ways too.
Yeah.
The freezer meals are just fantastic.
Yeah, I've done like prepping cookie dough, roll out cookie dough, throw that in the freezer. I've made like biscuits from scratch, and you can flash freeze them on the tray and then put them into bags. And that way, if we want to have like a special breakfast, eggs and biscuits and some stuff, it's not all that time and mess, because I made like many batches of something and then froze it. And so it's almost like quick freezer meals, but made on a budget, because making stuff from scratch is often cheaper, especially bread goods.
And can be a lot healthier if you're able to choose the ingredients and not have so many preservatives. If that's important to you. Yeah, I agree. I don't like to cook, so that's not what I want to do on Christmas Day when I'm with my family. So I am always trying to plan stuff that is super easy, that could be in the freezer, or like, for instance, in the past, I would maybe pick things that based on what we wanted, like emotionally or traditional, you know, meeting our traditions as a family. But over the years, I have found alternative recipes that are basically the same flavors, but easier, like an easier recipe. So there was this one Swedish treat it's called kringler, and it's like this puff pastry thing, and it's something you roll out and you make, and you have to eat it fresh. Like, it's really good. But I discovered this recipe of almond bars that are basically, they taste the same. They're not quite the same effect, but they basically they meet that same like tradition of having that Swedish almond flavor. And I can make them ahead and freeze them in the freezer. And that is like a lifesaver for me. So easy to be able to swap those kinds of things out to make life easier for me.
I enjoy cooking and being in the kitchen, but I do not enjoy shopping. So especially when it's crowded.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't like waiting in big lines, but I do understand that some people love that. Like, to them, that's the holidays,
it's true.
Busy stores. And so that's awesome if that's you. But obviously you could probably tell that I like to do stuff ahead of time. And have things ready to go. So that I can spend kind of a relaxing time in the kitchen versus like, I need to go to the store. I forgot this thing. And so kind of taking an inventory of, you know, the things that maybe you don't think about all the time, especially like spices, holiday spices, aren't necessarily something that I cook with all the time. I'm not like a all year pumpkin spice girl or anything like that. It really comes out around Thanksgiving and then it goes back away.
I remember one year our contribution to our family Thanksgiving was the relish tray. And I thought, no big deal. It's just olives and pickles or whatever. So of course we went the day before. In the last like 2 hours before the store closed. It was insane. And I was so angry at myself because I spent so much time in there and all I needed was jars of pickles and olives. But I couldn't get through the crowds. So, I mean, it took me like a half an hour or 45 minutes just to get the pickles and olives. So, planning ahead, it just helps.
Planning ahead helps, I know I can get through a grocery store in 20 minutes for a week's worth of groceries because that's how much I'm not really like loving the browse. I'm just like in and out. I have my list. It's in order of where I enter the store to when I leave. But I do love cooking. And so it's not like I hate everything about food. It's just It's just not my thing. Shopping is not my thing.
Yep.
Which works great for minimalism.
One thing I've noticed for myself and my family, in the beginning when my kids were really young and I was still trying to discover what worked for our family, I gave in to every cutesy little treat out there.
Yeah.
And when I thought of them separately, okay, here's a little treat we'll put in the stocking. We're going to make cookies, and that'll be for like the week leading up to actual Christmas. And
candy canes.
yeah,
hot
the
chocolate,
candy canes, right.
Marshmallows.
When I thought of them separately, for some reason, it just didn't feel like that much. But when you get to the actual week, I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
And I mean, what mom likes to pump their kids full of sugar? Because then you're just suffering. The kids are going crazy. So
we're all trapped inside.
Yeah,
it's cold.
This is cold.
Yeah.
So I try so hard every year to coach myself to not overdo it and realize that other people are going to end up giving us treats.
Yeah.
We'll be at parties and there'll be treats. There'll be all kinds of things happening. And so I really try to minimize the amount of sugar because I also know how much that affects our health. And then we get to the end of the year and everybody doesn't feel good,
Right.
So I think, maybe just picking like one. Like we do this one now with these round chocolate cookies, and we stick pretzels in like antlers, and the kids love that one. So we just usually do that one, and I try not to like go overboard with the rest of them.
Yeah, and having the sweet snack be kind of a craft can kind of prolong it instead of like, here's more, and it's just like open it up and eat it.
Yeah.
So that, or we make candy cane cookies where it's like light dough and then dough that's kind of pink and you twist them together.
Yeah.
Sprinkle some candy canes. Yeah, it's sugary, but everybody took time to make theirs. Or, of course, cutout cookies, which you can make in all sorts of different designs. We've done gingerbread houses, but didn't eat them because they sit out for so long. But something where you can have the craft of it instead of just open a bag and eat it.
Right.
And, of course, getting more people involved.
Yes.
So, with holiday cooking, making it a family event, making that an activity.
Right.
Instead of, you doing it by yourself or your spouse doing it by themselves.
Yeah.
And kind of maybe if not everybody wants to participate, that's fine. But like having a puzzle on the table while cooking is happening, putting on a movie or some music, kind of background stuff.
Yeah.
Can really bring that warm family memory type feeling.
Yeah.
And really consider what traditions you want your kids to have with their kids. Because it's amazing how much parents have an influence on their grandkids. Growing up, my mom didn't talk about Santa Claus. It wasn't in our life. So funny enough, I never missed it. And it's not something that I necessarily talk to my kids about because it's not a memory for me. So if you want to talk to your kids about Santa, that's great. If you want that to be the memory for them. But my point is, everything that you do will have an influence on their memories. And so picking and choosing is important. So if you want your kids to have that expectation of when they're parents, they're going to take their kids to lots of events, that's great. Or if they're going to like have family time in the home, that's awesome. If you have a lot of expectations and you bring them this really like extravagant month of activities and it stresses you out, there's a good chance that your children will grow up and expect that and have pressure on themselves, and they'll be stressed out because they're trying to attain that level that you did. So setting an example of simplifying and bringing peace into your home and making things easier is teaching them to be easier on themselves when they're an adult.
Yeah. I love that.
So think about that legacy that you're leaving in your family. And that's a wrap for today's episode about minimalism and holiday food. We hope you enjoyed this topic and found a few tips that might help on your journey.
We want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners for tuning in. Your support and curiosity are what keeps us going. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an opportunity to explore new ideas and perspectives. And if you're inclined, leave us a review, which helps to spread the word to others who might enjoy the journey too. As always, feel free to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram to share your thoughts, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, stay motivated. Take care.